Hello everyone, welcome to a Monster Hunter Wilds live stream. I tried making this video a bajillion times, so I'm going to be live streaming it instead. So I hope the internet works well in this side of the room. Sometimes it begins to kind of uh, trouble just a bit. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day. It is Thursday. I thought it was Friday. It feels kind of like a Thursday mixed with a Friday, but that's just me. Um, anyways, Anyways, I want to talk about Monster Hunter Wilds and some of the worries I have about it. First things first, let me just get this out of the way. I think there are some beautiful parts of Monster Hunter Wilds. Graphics, I think it's amazing. I don't really care about graphics that much, but they really helped it themselves with realism. When it comes to when it comes to more movement, I think that's fantastic too. There's more movement with weapons and more animations with the hunter, more animations with the monsters. Stuff feels good, stuff looks good. But but there's a big but right over here. We have to talk about Monster Hunter moving forward. You know, um, for the past few years, games have changed completely. They have a set standard. They can't really be super duper offensive. Even light things can't even exist because how can they? Something like blood can't really be shown at times, or sometimes you just can't have a character just wear short clothing. I've noticed these trends take place, and a lot of these trends stem from Western push. And I'm not going to say the other W word because I know a lot of people don't like that word, but I will say the proper W word, Western. Now, many of us come from Western countries, but still, it doesn't change the fact that a lot of Western standards have changed almost everything. The way we look at things now is because of the West. And there have been a lot of good changes, but there's also some negative changes like I don't know, like people being told like just can't have fun anymore because everything is so offensive. And when it comes to Monster Hunter Wilds, you can really see Capcom really hammering the Western ideology. So so much graphics, so much violence, um, but you can't really have beautiful female armors. You can't really have those type of armors from the old games. You have a couple of them, but many of them still feel like they've really censored and pushed back a bit. And also, you can now be a male character and just wear female clothing and stuff like that in the game, which really makes me feel that I am I am, you could say, alone right now. I'm alone because I feel like I'm the only one who is against stuff like this because that's what made Monster Hunter so unique. The differences between armor, the male wear the male and the female wear the female. That's what made it unique. But now it's all well, you gotta wear whatever, you can be whatever. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But a lot of other games have been pushing it too. So it makes sense that Capcom will have to follow. Even Street Fighter 6 has a bunch of like this body type stuff that really irks me. But wokeness have been seeping in even in Monster Hunter World with females having beards. And then Monster Hunter Rise, it's just you can't call male and female anymore. You have to say body type A or B or one and two. I can't remember. It's just so ridiculous now that these things are pushed in it, and we just have to accept it in order to have fun and hunt the monsters. And speaking of hunting monsters, I have a feeling that one day you won't be able to even do that because that's so offensive. The monsters look so realistic, they move realistic. People had the problem with that in World when the monsters kind of limped. I remember reading one article where it said the hunters are the bad guys, and um, it must be mentioned in the game. The hunters have to be the bad guys because the monster is limping. And that's the thing. In Monster Hunter games, the monsters limit so you know when they can be catched and you know when they're close to death. Obviously, when it comes to modern games, the more real moves you have, obviously, people are going to see it for what it is. And a lot of people will get upset. It's not senseless violence. It's not. It's a video game. It is a video game. Um, but obviously, one day that stuff will slowly wither away too, and people will wonder what happened. It's like, yeah, well, maybe because they're sanitizing so much. But I don't just want to talk about the gender stuff. I also want to talk about just the identity of Monster Hunter slowly being stripped out because you have to appease someone and you just can't appease the original fans. You can't say you have to accept it. You have to now change everything. Not everything is meant to for a worldwide audience. Some stuff are going to be niche, and there's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong if a niche series turns into something that's extremely popular. That's because people like it. That's because people like it for what it is, not because it needs to be something else. But over the past few years, people have been trying to make sure you can't really have anything niche. So Monster Hunter was pushed more in the West, and they did a good job with World, and I think they did a too good job because now it feels like there's no turning back. You can't pull them back to reality. You have to just let them float away and come back on their own. And that's just sad because who knows, maybe Monster Hunter 8, they'll finally realize that they should have just stayed with old school Monster Hunter. I don't think we'll get a game like old school Monster Hunter or even fifth gen Monster Hunter because Wilds is going to be the new thing. Even the next portable game, as much as some people will feel awed by this statement, as much as the next Monster Hunter portable game, I have a feeling that when it comes out, well, not when it comes out, it is going to be a game similar to Wilds. It may not look like realistic like Wilds, but it will have like larger environments, more monsters, and a lot of that, a lot of those. What's the word? Just like wild stuff, sixth gen stuff. It will have. So you won't really get a game close to Monster Hunter uh, Rise with just having smaller environments, nor will you have the fun aspects of the simplicities of Monster Hunter, of all the previous Monster Hunter games, when things were restricted at times. It was cool when you had restrictions because everything mattered. And that's it. Like those things really mattered. Uh, I have read some other comments on other places like 4chan and some other YouTube videos, and I can really understand what people mean by not liking this game. It looks a bit odd, and I get it using a different engine. They have more realistic facial features. You really want things to be a bit different. I'm all for adding new experiences, but at the same time, I don't want to take this. I don't want Wilds to completely go to the next track. It's moving one track. It shouldn't just hop to the next and just move somewhere else. It should just remain as it is, a fun Monster Hunter game. I don't mind some of the cool changes, like having large monsters also have herds. I'm sure if they stuck with old school Monster Hunter, or at least something akin to 5th gen, you could still have those large herd monsters. You could still have that. Just give more movement to the monsters, make them less scripted, stuff like that, obviously it's possible. It is really possible by making a game like that, and also making it extremely old school. You can have your limitations, you can have all that type of stuff, and you can still have the 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 open wild world. Like maybe you're hunting an Anjanath in a game, and then all of a sudden, when you enter the environment, there's more monsters all doing their own thing, and you can either interact with them and stuff. You can do turf wars and stuff like that. You can have all of those things, but honestly, it's a bit ridiculous that it's a bit ridiculous that we're just gonna soon go fully 100% open world. Maybe possibly in Monster Hunter 7, that all environments will just be one. So yeah, like everything will be stuck together. Everything will be stuck together. So yeah, and it'll be even larger, and graphics will look even more realistic, and then um, a lot more features will be lost. It sucks that as they go mainstream, the more they lose out on their identity. And I've read some comments as well, a lot of people just being upset about stuff like this. Um, and I can understand that completely. I even had like a big comment that I was reading, and then I remember trying to make a video on it. It was a really big comment. I don't know if I can find that comment now, and I don't have another device to look at right now. I'm sure my other device is possibly needing a full charge, so I can't really look at the comments. But I had this one big comment of an old school Monster Hunter fan telling me that he just doesn't like where Monster Hunter is headed. And I can understand him now because I'm seeing the more I'm overwhelmed by Monster Hunter Wilds, the more I realize that this isn't for me anymore. It has evolved into something that just isn't for me. And I think a lot of games they just demand open world for no apparent reason. Monster Hunter Monster Hunter can survive without open world. You know that, right? It can survive without that. It can do good without that. But obviously the more open world you go, the more ridiculous it gets. And I'm fine if I would be fine if this was like a spin-off series, but it's not. It's like it's the next big step, and then Monster Hunter 7 will be the even bigger step, and then Monster Hunter 8 will be like completely gigantic, and everyone will be like, "Wow, this is amazing!" But they'll be taking out more and more stuff out of it. That's the thing. I just don't like what they're doing. You know, like there are stuff I like and stuff I don't like, and I just don't really think Monster Hunter Wilds is for me. That's what I'm trying to say. The more you aim to the West, the more you aim for Western standards, the more you're just going to comply with it, the more you lose everything that makes you unique. A lot of games have lost their uniqueness and charm in place of um, globalization. And here's the thing, Monster Hunter already had a fan base before World that was worldwide. Even though it was extremely niche, it still mattered. They still mattered. I mattered. Okay. I was one of those niche fans back in the day. And now it's like, what's going on? You know, obviously this game is gonna get a bunch of sales, maybe 17 million, 20 million, before its expansion comes out. So it's going to be that big game. It's just a bit sad to see Monster Hunter turn into something you don't like. I'm guessing this is what Star Wars fans feel like when anytime they see like new Star Wars stuff, they just get disappointed. So yeah, it sucks to see everything just turn into this. Yeah, and this is something else I want to point out. You know, like you can keep the formula fresh by staying in your own situation. You know, Capcom did that the best when it came to Monster Hunter 1 to 5, but I guess they have to really branch out now. Honestly, this doesn't feel like a game for me, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry if anyone doesn't like that. I just feel like it turned into something that's not for me. Anyways, I'm sorry for showing you my terrible bed. I don't really know what else to show you. So I'll just have to end this stream. Have a wonderful day. I think I think Monster Hunter is going a place where, um, you know, you can change. You can pull them away somehow, but it's going to take some time. It's going to take a lot of time for us to really help them. And honestly, I kind of wish, part of me wishes Monster Hunter World did not get that popular in the West. Just a part of me wishes it may have it could have gained like only 5 million sales in the West, and that's it. and then they just kind of went back to old school Monster Hunter. That would have been fantastic. But obviously, you just have to kind of move on now, huh? Have a wonderful day. Bye.